Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, in baseball, what's the best part about being the catcher? You get to work from home. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Lightning Train from Direwolf. In Lightning Train from Direwolf, 1 to 4 players take on the roles of various railway barons as they attempt to create the greatest railway company in North America. Now, the game board is a map of North America with various spaces where rail lines can be built to connect the various cities. Now, you're also going to have spaces that produce different resources during the game, and you're also going to have some train stations and places where train stations can be built. On the East Coast, you actually have a few sunrise cities. These are places where players will start building their railroads. Players are going to shuffle the resources. They're going to shuffle the different kinds of train stations, the large and the small. They're going to put them up near the top. You're going to have tokens, market tokens. You're going to put some up there along the top of the board. Depending on the markings underneath them, it's going to show kind of at what number value they go at. Though that's the cost. And then players are also going to get their own player board. They're also going to receive 2 mogul cards, and you'll put the action cards just off to the side of the board. Players are actually going to use a setup card to show exactly where resources are going to go in some of these resource-producing places, and if any of the stations pop up with neutral colored station cubes that go in them. Now, players will have a number of train chips. These are the tokens we're using, and they're going to build a supply off to the side. They're going to put 3 of those in their bag. You also have 4 power chips. You're going to place those on your player board as well. Players are also going to put 7 starting chips in their bag. You're going to have money chips, and you're also going to have 3 contract chips, which also have money on them as well. One of the chips will also have a lightning train, and whenever you get a lightning train, that is going to signal you to take one of the trains from your supply and also add that to your player board. Now, every round, you're going to draw an event card, which is going to have production. It's going to show what new resources you're going to add on the board and where. And then you're also going to check the player's score for any subsidies that may have kicked in. You may get to a point where you can unlock one of the power chips you've got on your board that will give you special advantages in the game. Now, players will start the game with drawing 5 chips from their bag, and at the end of every round, you'll draw 5 chips, so you'll have that all ready for your next round. But when you get these, then there's certain things you can do. You can build a rail line. Now, provided you have enough train cars to fill a specific section of the rail line, and you have a contract. This is one of the chips that says one of the sections on the board, you know, the Northeast or the South, the Southwest, the Rockies, whatever. You have to have a contract with that color. There's other ways you can purchase contracts later, but basically you have to have that, and you can lay down your rail lines. But you can only build 1 rail line per turn. Now, some of these rail lines will have money involved, or sorry, points that you can get, and you can claim those points immediately. Some of the rail lines you build will require you to use explosives, and you can actually put trains on your player board to allow you to build explosives. It's kind of a way to build explosives later in the game, just as you can sometimes put down trains to buy contracts. So your trains are kind of a currency that you can use in the game, and once they're done, you're going to place them off the side of your board in your warehouse. Now, if any of your chips have a delivery icon, you can make a delivery, meaning you can trace a line from any of those resources on the board to any of the cities that want that resource. And you can take any player's rail lines. But here's the thing. you're going to score a point for putting that, for essentially making that delivery. But every rail line that you use will award a player a point. So you want to use as many of your own rail lines as you can. The trick is you have to do it in the most efficient way possible. So the fastest way you can get there is the rail line you will use, which means you will not just benefit yourself with points, but you may also benefit your opponents by using their rail lines as well. Now, as I say, you can assign some trains to places on your player board. You can assign them to a spot where if you have enough of them, you can use it as a contract anywhere. You can assign some of them to use as explosives when building that tunnel. You kind of have a reserve spot where you can just place a train there and hold it and use it on your next turn. Now, you also have sections of your board. You can industrialize, meaning you can flip part of your board over, and that gives you extra spaces where you can put chips when you pull them that have the plus symbol. You actually place the plus symbol on the plus symbols, which opens up more spaces for you to draw. You can draw more chips the more areas you have with those symbols on it. You can also go public. You flip over another side of your board. This is going to give you special advantages, such as whenever you generate 7 money on a turn, you are going to score points. Now, you can also play any card actions or card upgrades. You can actually buy, with all the money you've got that turn, you can actually buy anything from the market row. You can buy one of those chips that you're going to put in your warehouse. Again, this is something that will later come back to help you. As you're purchasing things, you may be a little bit short. You can actually take a loan. You can take a loan, but you want to make sure you pay that back because it's going to be nasty if you let it hang around. Now, at the very end of your turn, you essentially take all of your chips from your boarding area, you put them in your warehouse, and then you're going to go ahead. If your bag is empty, you refill your bag. Otherwise, you just reach in your bag and you grab 5 new chips, more if you've got plus symbols on them. Now, at the beginning of your turn, you're going to look at all of the chips in your boarding area, and sometimes there'll be certain symbols will kick in. If you see any lightning trains, as I say, you'll get another train that you can use that turn. And you may be able to do different actions depending on what is printed on your chips. So over the course of the game, players are looking at their chips for any special bonuses or actions. You are building new rail lines. You are buying new chips from the market. You are taking loans. You're paying off loans. You are gaining cards and other abilities. You are using explosives to build tunnels. And critically, you are putting more stuff in your warehouse. And when you need to draw and there's nothing there, you put all the chips in your warehouse and you can draw from that again. Now, the end game is triggered when you complete the Transcontinental Railroad, which connects New York to San Francisco. In a 4-player game, you also have to connect Seattle and Houston. In a 3-player game, Seattle or Houston. But you go ahead, you finish that round, you take one final round, you make any final deliveries, you check your mogul cards to see if they've completed, and whoever has the highest score wins. Lightning Train.
We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lightning Train from Direwolf. So I was very excited. I heard a lot of good things about this game. And bag building is always an interesting concept. It's so much like deck building, but of course, different. Um, I looked at the map and it looks a lot like Ticket to Ride. It reminded me a lot of the Ticket to Ride map. And my initial thought is this just going to be a Ticket to Ride clone, and it is not. It is very much its own game. It is a bag building game. It is a game where you've got these chips that give you different actions every time you bring them out. You know, you're pulling them out and you're hoping you get the lightning train symbols because that gives you more possibilities and more things you can do. You're hoping to get the 2 conductors, right? So you're kind of sweating that every time. But at the end of every turn, you get that, and then at the beginning of your turn, you've got stuff planned. You know what you're going to do, and you can go ahead and move on it. And so it's fun to, over the course of the game, as you're buying the different market chips, and they're allowing you to take different actions and do different things, and really kind of expand your options potentially for every one of your turns. So that is really a lot of fun. There's a lot of good competition in this game for completing the tracks and then completing the deliveries, building the stations, which is something else you can do in the game. So there's a lot of really fun options. This is a game where there's a lot of things you can do on your turn. Now, sometimes you may not be able to do what you want to do, but you can see avenues and ways to prepare for those things you want to do on every turn. And so that is very fun. Now, I have to tell you, I really enjoyed this game. I had a lot of fun with it. But I think Ray and Al enjoyed it a lot more than I did. Ray loves train games. He is a train game fanatic. Now, I like train games. They're fun, but they're not my favorite. As far as it goes, I really did enjoy this one. Ray, however, I think absolutely fell in love with this. I'm probably, even though I do like it, I'm probably going to end up giving it to Ray because I know he really loved this game. It's fun, it's interesting, it's engaging. If you like train games, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. If you like bag building games, this is probably, maybe the best implementation of bag building I've seen ever. Maybe. I really liked War Chest. I thought that did bag building really well, but I don't know. This is really a fun bag building game. Really like that aspect of it as well, and it's always fun just watching the board evolve and seeing the railway lines you're laying down and gaining points. I think this game just works all around. I know Ray was talking about how maybe he'd like to try the solo unit on it sometime, and so maybe we'll get some more information from him on that. But all told, I was charmed with this game. I think it does a fantastic job, and I have no hesitation of recommending it. On the Cody scale, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give Lightning Train a 7 out of 10. It's really a lot of fun. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us once again today here on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we would ask you to please leave a comment here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on X. We love to hear back from you. We would ask you to please like this video and subscribe to our channel. That really helps us out. We would also ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson PhD, where I talk about military history and books on history, fun things like that. I even post some of my lectures on there. I would humbly ask you to click on that channel and subscribe to it as well. And also, too, if you really do like the kind of content we bring to you here on The Discriminating Gamer, I would humbly ask you to click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. I recently broke my leg in 3 places. I probably shouldn't have gone back to those places.
Please somebody help me on my feet again. And I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band. God knows that I love to fight.
Holy cow.
He wants that point.
I want that point.
He got screwed out of his victory last time.
I spent 6 spice for that.